today's stop loss cluster update for the QuasiDB service for the 18th of February. We'll start with gold because it did come into play twice this week as a signal. We had two sell signals because of the bubble deviation. That's the logic. And gold actually triggered twice, and it was around about here, and it did fall, but we didn't record it on the spreadsheet. And the second time it triggered was around about here, and I did record it on the spreadsheet for the fact that we had a very choppy week, and I did want to eke out a bit of profit. Okay, so that's the reason for it. Next week we will include gold on the profit and loss, but if you do take it, please be careful, because it doesn't react the same as like a conventional currency pair. It's very volatile in its movement. So for example, if you did like a 0.05 or smaller, you could really you could make quite a bit of money on a micro lot, even on a small move. Something like this, that would be equivalent to, you know, like minimum wage for someone in the UK. Just something like a move like this that can happen in 6 hours. That's more money than you're going to make in McDonald's with a micro lot of 0.01. So it will add up, and if you do a normal size, then you could, you know, you'll put yourself into danger on your account as well. So that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to include it on the profit and loss for all the months prior to today. So I've always been quite careful, but as long as you guys are careful then and you understand the risk, then that's fine, and I'm happy. But just don't use your normal sizes. That's key. So that's all well said and done, and the reason I exited the signals because of the FX multimeter, and you see how we're not bearish in all time frames. So that was one of the reasons I decided to get out. It's great because what will happen, it'll have some strength in the 1 minute, and then you know, if you wait some time and it's like, oh, it's actually quite strong in the 5 minute, and then it went to the 15. So I'm like, all right, logically it can continue, because, you know, three ticks in the box, why not a fourth? So that's one of the reasons I got out. Monthly support 1 is 1783, so that should hold as a resistance, but we'll see. I'll just do S&P. This is very much of a beast, and the thing with our dollar and yen trades is that if we were to sell like Euro USD or Pound USD, we're really essentially we're fighting this, and because this is like the risk barometer for all currencies, because everything relies on risk really at a high level. So, you know, this is like the granddaddy. If this goes up, then it's going to affect currencies, you know, because they're all directly related to risk, like I say. So I don't know, I can't really recommend fighting it. Like I was saying yesterday, this is a humongously strong move on the S&P, and by trying to fight that by buying the dollar and buying yen, you know, we're actually going against the grain. So we do have to be careful whenever we get a dollar or yen signal, because this is like it's like a beast. We don't really want to fight the beast, really. And we're getting a strong bullish volume candle on this H4, and so that's interesting. The last candle of interest really was this one before. It was a bearish one, but we've overcome that, and no doubt the retail guys would have shorted it. We did see a subtle change in the risk calculation where the guys are going long, but it's only a very slight amount. It doesn't affect the big picture that much, because at the big picture we're still risk on. But if they continue to go long, the retail guys, you know, the dumb herd, then that's going to be an issue. So we do need to check it on a daily basis, which is what we do. So yeah, just a note on the monster, that the S&P. We are descending on the moving average, so that's interesting. And we did have MR2 resistance. So I've talked already quite a bit, so I'm going to zip through the currencies, and obviously this is directly linked to S&P, for example, because it's very risk sensitive. SLC 82.46, 81.67, and signals to buy Sentimental is to buy, AU, 78.05 and 77.10, signal center to buy, and the sentiment center to buy. Keep an eye on your MR1 at quadruple 7, so you can't forget that. 077777. EA, signal center way, the sentiment center to sell. So C is 156.10, 154.96. Buy, buy. And this is really, really annoying. This is why I might sound a bit exasperated. But we had the biggest mover yesterday. That was the sell. And then this was the biggest mover today on our 24-hour difference. And this was the buy. In such a short space of time, we went from two extremes. So it's like a seesaw. And so it's just horrendous, absolutely like disgusting to trade if we're looking at it from a sentimental view. So if it does do this going forward, where it does like a rounding thing, we'll just need to be careful, and we'll have to rely on technicals and fundamentals, because this is a nightmare, that average line. Because like as sentiment analysts, we would follow that and then we would trade against the trend. But if they stop and reverse their sentiment, it doesn't help us whatsoever. They need to go one way and then continue and hold onto that bias. So they didn't, and they reversed. So very annoying. GU, and this is the strongest extreme bubble at the moment. The yen was very extreme yesterday, if you remember, and now the pound's very, very extreme, but it's extreme buy, where the yen was extreme sell. So this has to blow stops. 139.90 and 139.20. Remember to check Marco's analysis because we should be hitting resistance, and I agree. It's a weekly chart, and so you know it's very strong. Sentimentally, we're buy. Signal saying to buy. NU there, yeah. So it's buy. SLC above 72.30 and 71.70. And this is another stop loss cluster going to be taken today. This is one from earlier. Then I had a bit of a break from the screen, and we rallied anyway. So the size has got smaller. We are a buy. SLC above 127.80 and 127.24. But really, you know, technicals are strong across all time frames. Pound yen. This is another beast as well. This is like destroyer of accounts. This is horrendous. 147.80 and 146.29, and they're holding on to their bearish bias for all this time. Let's maybe even zoom out. So where did it actually become a buy? Here. At this point. At 140, so 700 pips. It became a buy at that point. And yet they held on. And then they held on. But they added short. They sort of released a bit of their positions, and now they're just going sideways. So they're holding on and just hoping that it's going to fall. And likely what's going to happen, we're going to take stops out, and then eventually they'll have to give up. And we won't be recording extreme signals anymore going forward from Monday. So whenever we see an extreme bubble, we will not trade that. So the pound Swiss could potentially have been a signal, but we wouldn't be trading it because the Swiss is quite extreme and the pound is very, very extreme. Okay, so I think we'll grab that, and it's still quite a large size. They could potentially move it. You know what the retail guys are like, and MR3 is 149.54, so potentially here. Dollar yen 105.92, 104.35, no signal, buy, and yeah, I mean it could be a buy off MR1 105.57. Sentiment doesn't really help. They went short, and then they started to sort of go long here, kind of, and only marginally, so that'll be bearish. dollar CAD, and 127.45, 126.57, sell, sell, and sell because of the moving average trend. It's not bearish, it's not bullish on any time frame. Dollar Swiss, and don't forget to check your oil as well, because obviously the CAD and oil are closely correlated. And we'll wrap up this one now because it's a long video, so I apologise for that, but hopefully it's been useful. 89.95 and 89.50. 89, yeah, 89.95, 89.50. So it's 45 pips difference. One above is larger, and we really should be falling because this has been a sell for months. It's been ridiculous. So signal saying to not do anything, just to wait. And quick look at Bitcoin perhaps. And what will be interesting is that if when we do get risk off and S&P falls, whenever it does, it'd be interesting to see what happens with crypto. So it's looking quite strong at the moment. So, and then see how we go. Yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know about the video that I made on the TradingView earlier today. And if you guys can test it, it could have a massive potential. So I'm going to be looking at it next week, and I'll keep you guys up to date with my findings. And I'll speak to you guys soon.